I mean, I've thought that if this all works out, I mean, it would benefit Elon to put me on Mars. If I could control like an army of Optimus robots, that's way better than anything y'all could do. Like I would be so useful. Elon, if you're seeing this, man, hit me up. Yeah, that's kind of a joke, but not really. Yeah, I guess you can come. I won't need you if I have all those Optimus robots. I'm just joking. I'm just joking, Mom. I love you.
Meet Patient 1, the first human with Neuralink implant that shared his experiences and benefits of using Neuralink, and also some of his jokes because he's actually really funny. So if you enjoyed this kind of content, continue watching because it's gonna blow your mind.
Hello, humans. I wanted to start this out with a joke, but I didn't think you lesser beings would understand. My name's Nolan. I'm obviously the first person with the Neuralink implant. Thank you. It's been a wild ride. I think more than anything, I'm just impressed with all the work y'all have done. I mean, I did very little. I let them, cut open my skull and put something in my brain, and that's about it. I was asleep for all of it, so it was super easy. Y'all have been doing work for years, and I'm just so impressed with everyone I've met. And I don't know, it's amazing. It's amazing being able to tour everything and see, behind the scenes. It's fantastic. I can't express enough how awesome all of y'all are and how much this is going to change the world. I mean, I can already see it. It's been a month. I think a month was like 2 days ago. And how much my life has changed and how much it's improved, not just my life, but the implant and the work that y'all are doing. It's been fantastic. And I can only imagine where this is going to go. And y'all are really doing just the coolest thing in the world. I'm so happy to be a part of it. I feel so blessed to be a part of it. Like I said, I didn't do a whole lot to get selected. I just happened to align with everything that y'all wanted, that the study wanted. And really it was luck, basically. And at any point today, if y'all want to come talk to me, please come on up. I am basically like all of y'all, just with a bit of hardware in my skull, a bit more compute power, and that's about it.
After the surgery, Nolan participated in many different experiments showing the capabilities of Neuralink. He even played Mario Kart with his dad. Here are some numbers showing his achievements over the past few weeks, and some examples of those activities.
Okay, now to the raw stats. Lifetime, Nolan has selected 89,285 targets in WebGrid. There is no one in the same league. There was one day, February 15th, Nolan selected 762 in one day. For reference, the maximum I think I've ever seen any living creature do is probably Pager before that, and it's in the low thousands, like not even close. It's like a multiplier off. Absolutely absurd quantity of data. The total number of left clicks Nolan has done with this BCI, 111,000 left clicks. Right clicks, similar, 35,000 right clicks. Okay, now for the most important stat of all. For those who know me, I'm a very competitive person. Nolan is competitive, but shows it in a slightly different way. And I've been playing chess with Nolan for the last month, incrementally as his BCI has improved. And I want to be very clear that Nolan will destroy me in any fair competition, okay? It's not a close contest intellectually.
Nolan nods.
However, when the BCI is not working well enough for him to beat me, and the clock time is small enough, I have a chance. And just for the record, Nolan has beaten me 7 times in chess, and has only lost 4 times. So he's up 3 games right now.
Better believe it.
And then the last 2 numbers I want to talk about, or maybe just the last number I want to talk about briefly, is the one on the bottom here. And it's, I think, in some ways the most important metric from the last month. And it's the number of hours of Civilization 6 played between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. using a BCI. And it's it's 7.6 hours of Civilization 6 played between those hours. The video I want to show, it's a very special moment to me because it's the first time that Nolan is getting control of the computer cursor on the screen. So what you'll see in this video is Nolan actually exiting the calibration experience and getting control of the cursor for the first time. So here we go. Yeah, I think the main point I want to take away from that is just the last comment that Nolan had there. I think I can do better. It basically summarizes his work during this entire last month. Okay, the next video I want to just briefly walk through happened actually it happened on the first day of him being able to use his BCI. And I'll play the video and then explain what it is afterwards, because I think the significance of it will be more clear once you've seen the video. Here we go.
No, I think I like it.
Oh, well done, man. He's a new world record holder.
I thought it was higher. I thought I would have to get to 5 or something. Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah, so I think this is a remarkable technical achievement, but the thing I want to highlight about this is actually that this happened on like hour 7.5 of that day. And I just want to call out, again, this is not a typical thing to have the kind of determination and grit required to do this, and it's just a remarkable testament to Nolan that on the very first day he had access to this thing, he blew the previous thing out of the water. It's ridiculous. So yeah, one big hand for Nolan, please. All right, now this next video, this was actually, I think, a request of Nolan. During our first initial home visit, the first time I met Nolan, we talked about things he might want to do with his BCI and how one of the games he likes to play, he referred to it as Beerio Kart, not Mario Kart, but
It's a much different game.
much different game. One of the goals was to be able to actually play the game Mario Kart with his friends. And in this video, I think we posted this at one point on Slack or a version of this, and there was a vote of sort of which of these was controlled by a BCI, which of these was Nolan, and which of these was his dad. And I'm not saying anything about his dad's skill set, but in some ways it's kind of like a Turing test for BCI. If you can't tell the difference, this is a remarkable achievement, and again, a testament to Nolan's ability to figure stuff out blazingly quick. And I'm going to hold off until the end to say which is which, but here we go.
Chris Kyle over here.
Oh no.
All right, so Nolan was the guy on the right, the one who sniped that dude with the green shell halfway through. And also the guy who I'll mention has the best taste in which player to play as in Mario Kart. Dry Bowser for the win.
I would like to just really quick, for those of you who don't know what Beerio Kart is, so if you've never played, it's Mario Kart, except everyone starts with a beer in hand, and you're not allowed to drink and drive. So you have to pull over and drink your beer periodically, and you have to finish it before the end of the race. And that's it. And so I've wanted to play that. It's so much fun. If you've never played, I would say we could have a little tournament in the office, but I'm not sure how y'all feel about your employees getting drunk. But it's so much fun. Just
What's
wanted to throw
the
that out there.
winning strategy here?
Chug it all.
Yeah, just in the beginning.
Yeah, shot.
Oh, wait, you can't. But you can't drink and drive.
You can't.
Yeah.
So you just stay there, you shotgun it, and then you drive. And hopefully you're not too jacked up to be able to finish the race. But that's it. That's it. It's so much fun. Okay, that's it.
Yeah, maybe we'll have that set up later.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I'll play you.
Yeah.
The next video here, it's actually a similar one, just a slightly different perspective, and it means something very personal to me, and I'm guessing to a lot of you, which is why I wanted to put in this deck. What you'll see in the next video is, it's a very normal scene. What you see is a dad and his son playing Mario Kart, something I grew up doing all the time with my parents, something I did a lot with my friends growing up, and something that wasn't possible until this happened. And I just think the normalcy of it, contrasted with the absolute absurdity of doing it using a BCI, is something to just marvel at and just take in and soak in for a second. So here we go. Yeah, it still blows my mind that Yoshi here has been controlled without moving any hand at all. It's just completely using BCI.
Now let's move to the last part where I cherry-picked the best questions from the whole interview.
What does it feel like to move the cursor with your mind?
It's freaking wild. It's hard to explain, honestly. So much of what I feel is impossible to get others to understand. So like right now, I can feel myself moving my index finger. It's not moving, but I can feel it. I'm doing it, and it's just not able to, there's no way for y'all to understand like what that feels like. I can explain it, I can try, but there's just no way. And seeing that translate onto a screen and being able to move a cursor is it's such a wild wild feeling. It's not being able to explain this to y'all. It's hard, it's very difficult, but then you can see it happening real time on a screen. And so there's a connection there, I feel like. Like I'm showing people like how amazing this technology is by, I don't know, just thinking. That's crazy. I remember when I first got control and I was moving it with my mind. So there's a difference between attempting to move it versus imagining to move it. Attempting, I feel, is kind of cheating. It's probably not, but when I attempt to move something, it does feel like I'm moving it with, say, my hand or my wrist, even though you can't see it. To me, I can feel things in my arm moving around, maybe that you just can't understand, I guess. But when I first moved it just by thinking, it blew my mind for a day. Like, I just could not wrap my head around it. It was so cool. I can talk at length about this, like what it actually feels like, and y'all come up and ask me as many questions as you want, because this is not an easy thing to answer. It is very, very complicated. What I'm feeling and what I can explain to you, it feels very cool. I'll say that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that probably doesn't answer your question, but it's kind of a very difficult thing to answer. I don't know. Sorry.
Is there anything that surprised you about the whole process?
Yeah, how fast it was. Y'all move at light speed. It was crazy. Like, you don't go from applying for something to brain surgery in 5 months. Like, that just doesn't happen. At least not in my experience. It was crazy how fast everything moved. And I think everything was basically set in stone kind of around December. So that was, 3 months after I applied. And then there was just a lot of waiting around. I know that the clinical side of things wanted to interview more candidates and see if there was someone that was better than me. Good luck with that. So, but it was crazy. It was crazy how fast everything moved. It just kind of blew my mind. Also, just how awesome everyone is. It's not like I was expecting all of you to suck. Like, don't get me wrong. But everyone that I've met has just been so impressive and so amazing, and y'all are so accommodating to me and my family. Every step of the way, it's been amazing. You should be very proud of what you've built here, and the people that y'all have chosen to have around. It's just, y'all are among some of the greatest people I've ever met in my life, and like that shouldn't be just kind of glossed over, I guess. Y'all are really incredible. So thank you for everything. So that's part one. What's part two?
Thank you. And part two is, you're the first patient to have received one of our devices. What advice would you give to the second patient?
Man, I don't know.
You can think about it. We can maybe talk about it
No,
later.
yeah, it's hard to say. Going into this, all I ever wanted was to help people. Obviously, there's a lot of upside that comes with this. In the consent forms and everything that I signed, basically they flat out say there's no upside to this. And I'm like, that's a lot of BS. Like, there's a lot of upside. But they basically want me to go in understanding that, anything could go wrong at any moment. And, you could be out of this study at the drop of a hat, basically. So don't, put too much stock in what you're going to get out of this. It's really hard not to, because I've seen how amazing all of the technology is. I've glimpsed what the possibilities are, and now it's hard to live any other way. So I would say to the next patient, the next candidate, just to enjoy it as much as possible, because it is so much fun working with y'all. I can't describe how much fun I've had with Bliss and Near and Sammy and Beata and Harrison. Y'all coming to my house and just, can I cuss? Am I allowed to do that? Okay. Just like shooting the shit at my house. Like, it's just so much fun. Like, 8 hours of work feels like nothing. And I know that y'all might look at me and think, are we pushing him too hard? Like, 8 hours a day is a lot. It doesn't feel like that. I could keep going and going, and I want to. I really do. I just hope that the next patients appreciate what they're being allowed to be a part of and appreciate the people around them and just have fun, because it is a lot of fun. I'm sure all of you will have the chance to do this someday, and that'll be so much fun. We can play games together. I can beat your ass at chess too. I'm more than willing to do that. If you are gluttons for pain, I just want people to understand like how lucky they are to be a part of this, just as I've realized how lucky I am. I think that's what I would say. So yeah, part 2 done.
What are some capabilities you'd like to see in future iterations of the device?
I mean, I know that there are a lot of things that y'all have planned, so all of that. I mean, the Optimus robot sounds so cool. And not just how cool it is, because it is freaking awesome, but at the same time, it'll change specifically quadriplegics' lives. Having a full-time nurse is something that is not possible for people like me. I'm so lucky that I have my parents, my brother and other people who work with me around the clock, but most people don't have that. And I can just imagine having an Optimus robot as like just someone that's there all the time that can help you with whatever you need. It's gonna, oh my gosh, it's gonna change so many people's lives. It's gonna be amazing. So I would like to see that. I think that's in the works. I mean, it'll be crazy. Also, it would be really cool if Optimus can be like a little chauffeur. Like I'm thinking like, hey, get me one of those Cybertrucks and have them like toss me in and have the Cybertruck have an eject button. It'll be great just to travel around. I basically have to have a group of people around me all the time to get me to go anywhere. Like I'm from Arizona, if y'all don't know, so like driving up here was a 10-hour drive and I loved it. I didn't mind, but the people around me, not so much. Like the people driving, sorry David. Yeah. But imagine having like self-driving car and an ability to get in the car and have someone get you out and stuff. If I could do all of that without needing other people, just everything that improves, independence, quality of life, I can just see the possibilities, and I know that for me already it's been amazing, but I know where this can go. And it's gonna keep going, and y'all are gonna keep busting your asses, and I know that because I've met so many of you, and I'm just so impressed. And y'all think that like the amount of data that I've collected and the amount of work I've put in is impressive, but I don't think it is a drop in the bucket to what y'all have done. And I know that you're gonna keep pushing. Like it's just gonna keep growing and growing exponentially, and what is possible is it's just gonna keep expanding, and y'all are gonna keep changing people's lives, and it's gonna be amazing. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Speaking to your recovery after surgery, in the days after that, were there any parts of that were particularly difficult, or any parts that you expected to be hard that were easier than you thought they would be?
Yeah, brain surgery was easy, man. Like I was expecting a much longer recovery time, and they kicked me out of the hospital like a day later. I was like, are y'all sure? Like you don't need to keep me for observation or anything? They're like, no, you're good. Like put some, like Aquaphor, that's what it is. Put some Aquaphor on it, you'll be fine. Don't wear hats for a while. It's okay, like that's fine. It really sucked not being able to wear a beanie for 2 weeks. Outside of that, like that was the hardest thing I experienced, honestly. It was so easy. I don't know. I just expected it to be way, I don't want to say more invasive, because it's brain surgery. I don't know how much more invasive could you get, but it just did not seem like that. I went into that surgery, 2 hours later I was out. I was drugged up on, anesthesia for a couple hours, and after that I was ready to go. It kind of sucked not being able to use the BCI to its full capacity early on. I think we had to wait like 10 days for it to charge, for me to be allowed to charge it. So all of our sessions were like, I don't know, an hour or something like that, and that sucked. Like, I was ready to go, like day 1 out of surgery. It just wasn't that bad. So anyone that's thinking about getting this, do it. It was so easy.
What would you say to the critics? Like the people who say what we're doing isn't novel, or what we're doing is dangerous? What would you say to them?
What do they know? I mean, look at me. Do I look sick, or outside of my handicap, do I look disabled in any way? Did it affect my ability to tell awesome jokes? Fun little story. I know I shouldn't have done this. Right out of surgery, the first time I saw my mom, she walked in, and I looked at her and I was like, who are you? She was not happy about that. It lasted about 3 seconds. She looked at the doctors and was like, what did you do? I was like, I'm just kidding, Mom. I'm still paying for that, I think. But I mean, I've heard a lot of people say a lot of bad things about it. I mean, I was on, X for 5 minutes at one point, looking at people call me the Antichrist and stuff. It's it's funny because they just don't know. They don't know how amazing this technology is, how little recovery time it took, just how easy the whole process was. I mean, granted, maybe because I'm P1, everything was just so smooth. Y'all freaking move mountains when you need to, and that's amazing. But this is just, it's such amazing technology, and it was so simple that I feel like this thing should be out on the market today. I know y'all have a lot to do, and there's a lot of improvement to come, but like after that surgery and after that first day, I broke that world record and, you know, continued to break it like every day for a week straight and just kept climbing. Like, they should have looked at that data and been like, all right, like, that's enough. We can stop the study now. That's how I feel, at least, and how much it's helped my just life already, like my quality of life. Like, I freaking played Civ for 7 hours one night. That was awesome. Like, I would never be able to do that otherwise. And sure, like, we're still working out the kinks and stuff, but once we get this figured out, like, there's no reason for it not to be out there, I don't think, at all. Maybe y'all know something I don't, but for the most part, I think, like, no one should be afraid of this. I wasn't. I mean, the amount that y'all put my mind at ease even before the surgery was incredible. I was not worried even going into the surgery. I was just excited to get to work, honestly. You know, like, just get over it.
Do you feel the implant in any way?
Yeah, I mean, we have whole conversations together. Sorry, that's a bad joke. People are gonna think I'm actually crazy. No, a little bit. I mean, I can feel it when people bump up against it or something. There are certain things that I can feel, you know, I don't know, it's hard to describe. I mean, there's something in your brain. You can feel it a bit, but not as much as I would have thought. I would have thought it was just a feeling that you'd have constantly, and it just doesn't go away. I mean, I'd read a lot of the negative stuff about this before the surgery, about, you know, all the terrible things that y'all were putting the monkeys through and how awful it was, you know, monkeys like picking out their implant and rubbing it on the ground and all sorts of stuff that just, after talking with the monkey people today, I realized how just wrong all of that is. I'm glad I asked, because now anyone that asks me about it, I can just say, y'all are a bunch of idiots. Like, those monkeys are taken care of. They get better treatment than I do. I've been asking since day one for banana smoothie, and I still haven't gotten it. So just like to throw that out there, guys. But outside of that, I don't feel it at all, really. Like, very, very minimum impact on my life or anything. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Was there some particular wow moment of amazement that you experienced that you didn't expect at all after all the discussions and implant early trials?
Yeah, there were a few. Going into the surgery, I expected it to be, they told me anywhere from 3 to 6 hours. And I don't know if y'all know, it was like under 2, which was just wild to me, how just smooth everything went. So that was pretty awesome. I mean, when I first actually moved the cursor with my mind, it like I said, it blew my mind for a whole day. I just could not get over it. I mean, I knew that this is what the plan was, I guess. I knew that this was the whole goal of it, but I was like, okay, but how real is this? Am I actually going to be able to control something with my mind? And when I did, I was like, all right, sounds good to me. It was really, really cool. That was a pretty big wow moment. Yeah, I don't know. Playing Mario Kart and coming in second, like, repeatedly, kind of blew my mind. I didn't think that would be possible, like, a week into having it. It was like 2 weeks, I think, but a week into using it, that was freaking wild. Even though my dad and my buddy wouldn't let me win, I took second and not first because they're brutal. My family's just way too competitive. But I mean, we went from, I don't know if y'all know, from what's the lowest, like 50 cc, and I was like, my first time using it, I didn't come in last, and I expected to. Came in like 11th, and then every game after that I moved up. It was like 11th and 8th and 6th and then second, like over and over again. Then we moved up to the 100 cc, and I came in second again. It's just, this should not be possible this soon. The fact that I was breaking records on like day one, that just blew my mind. I didn't think that was possible. Whoever held those records before me is probably pissed. Sorry. So yeah, the whole thing has been kind of like a wow moment, honestly. it's hard to pick one, but it's just been so much fun.
And what's a simple, small thing that BCI enabled you to do that you really enjoyed?
I mean, I don't know if y'all would call playing Civ simple or small, but when I was able to play that weekend, I think I played it like 2 nights in a row, 7 hours one night, like another few hours, 4 or 5 the next. That was just, it was so cool. I obviously really enjoyed that. I spent freaking like 10 hours doing it one weekend. Something I never thought I would be able to do again. I'd tried playing Civ a few times since my accident, and like my buddies can tell you that it's just a couple hours, maybe tops, that I was able to do it, and it was frustrating the entire time. Being able to play it for so long like that, and being able to play it like while I was in bed, not needing any help from anyone, not needing to be adjusted, not needing to ask, my parents or my brother to get up in the middle of the night and come, help me out. Being able to play it past the time they went to bed was just, it's life-changing. It really is. It makes being, it's gonna sound kind of crazy, but it makes being paralyzed really not that bad. I think I have a really easy life. I just lie around and people do things for me, which is, pretty nice. Anything that makes me more independent, I'm all for. And this is, probably going to make people like me the most independent that they might ever be until it all gets cured. And I think that's a very real possibility. I know where this is going. And it's gonna, like just thinking about someone, say, breaking their neck or dislocating their neck, going into a hospital, and 2 days later, like getting surgery, getting an implant, something, 2 days later, walking out, like that is just, it's such a real possibility now. And that it makes me like so happy that other people don't have to go through this. Like it's everything I could have ever asked for, and to be a part of it and to be helping in some way, to be able to, be useful in some way, it completely changed how I live. I mean, I don't know, y'all might not feel this way because y'all stay up super late doing work anyways, but I've heard that people who stay up late at night, it can be a sign that they don't have anything to look forward to the next day. And that's basically how I lived for 8 years. And since I started doing all this, I'm in bed by 9, 10 p.m. I'm waking up at 6, 7 in the morning, just excited for the next day. And that's something that I never thought would happen to me ever again. So y'all have given me like a purpose, and it's outside of everything else that I've been able to do, it's more than I could ever ask for. So thank you guys. Thank you so much.